While studying the hadiths, I came across several instances that assert that some of Muhammad's alleged revelations were in response to requests from some of his companions. Will you tell us about them?
Hundreds of millions of the followers of Muhammad are under the impression that every single verse in the Quran was revealed for Muhammad. They have no idea and would be astounded to find out that they have not been apprised of the fact that many very important verses were revealed at the request of or the benefit for some of Muhammad's companions, wives, or followers. Their religious leaders refrain from informing them lest they become curious and try to investigate further. According to the Muhammadan records, Umar ibn al-Khattab too was allegedly given the gift of true inspiration. Presumably, Umar had the unique distinction of having said things which were confirmed by subsequent revelations. Imam Malik stated that on Umar's suggestion the words, "I testify that Muhammad is the messenger of Allah," were added to the adhan, the call of prayer. As we have been assiduously demonstrating, most of the Quranic verses were revealed according to the caprices of Muhammad. In these 2 chapters, I shall make plain to you the remarkable fact that others were also instrumental. Muhammadan scholars believe that knowing the reasons for the revelation of the Quranic verses is indispensable for comprehending the verses. Al-Suyuti wrote a full book concerning this fact. He called it the core of transmitted traditions for the reasons for the revelations, or Al-Itqan fi Ulum al-Quran. In part 1, page 82, he explains the significance of this matter to the greatest Muhammadan scholars, as it is the basis for understanding various verses which have been revealed after a certain incident or after a question was directed to Muhammad. Al-Suyuti recorded several examples to prove that it was impossible to understand some verses unless the reasons for the revelation were known. This fact is confirmed not only by the former scholars, but also by the Azhar and contemporary scholars. We shall together look at how the angel Gabriel used to comply immediately with Muhammad's personal desires and fulfill all his wishes, even if these wishes did not conform to the simplest principles of chastity, purity, or mercy. Also, sometimes those of his companions or wives. Even his teenage wife Aisha remarked to him, "I see that your Lord hastens to comply with your passion, O Muhammad." Bukhari Sahih, part 6, page 147. As already mentioned, Umar ibn al-Khattab played a major role in causing some very important revelations to descend upon Muhammad. These are the claims of Umar and the Muhammadan scholars, and not my claims. Whenever Umar wanted something, Muhammad later answered, "Yes, Allah has already sent Gabriel, who revealed to me this matter, which Umar had earlier requested." Muhammad's inspiration sometimes was revealed using the exact same words and vocabulary as Umar's. Thus, Ibn Umar said, as Suyuti mentioned, "Allah has placed the truth on Umar's tongue and on his heart." The Itqan, part 1, page 99. On the same page we find a statement which affirms Ibn Umar's claim about his father. As-Suyuti tells us, Bukhari and others have recorded that Umar ibn al-Khattab declared, "I have concurred with my Lord, or my Lord has concurred with me on 3 things. I said, O Apostle of Allah, I wish we would take the site of Abraham as a place of prayer." The verse came down, "And take ye the site of Abraham as a place of prayer." Al-Baqarah 2.125. Then I said, O Apostle of Allah, your women are visited by righteous and the debauched. I wish you would command them to stay behind the veil. So the verse of the veil came down. Al-Ahzab 33.53. When Muhammad's wives joined forces against him, I told them, "It may be if he divorced you all, that Allah will give him in exchange consorts better than you." These exact words were bestowed in Al-Tahrim 66.5. It is common knowledge among Muhammadan scholars that the above verses which Muhammadans claim are inspired by Allah were actually first uttered by Umar. In addition to Bukhari Sahih, other scholars, without exception, confirm that. Al-Baydawi, for instance, tells us on page 26, Musnad took Umar's hand and told him, "This is the site of Abraham." Umar said, "Shouldn't we take it as a place of prayer?" Muhammad said to him, "Allah has not commanded me to do so." But hardly the sun set when the inspired verse was given, "And take the site of Abraham as a place of worship." That is, the wish of Umar was fulfilled within a few hours. Before this verse and for the previous 16 months, Muhammad and his followers were worshipping towards Jerusalem. Another incident in which Umar was involved is an anecdote mentioned by most Muhammadan scholars and recorded by Suyuti in his book, The Reasons for the Verses of the Quran. Asbab al-Nuzul, page 31, Suyuti says, "During Ramadan, the fasting month, Muslims were accustomed to eat, drink, and have intercourse with women if they are not sleeping. After they sleep and wake up, they abstain. Umar had intercourse with one of his women after he woke up from his sleep. He went to the Prophet and told him what happened. Allah sent down this verse, 'It is made lawful for you to go unto your wives on the night of the fast.' Al-Baqarah 2.187. This story is recorded not only by Suyuti, but by all the other scholars. Therefore, after he and other believing men violated the commandment, Muhammad found that he did not have a choice, but either to punish and to reprove them, or to rescind the order by claiming that Gabriel had come down to him with the above-mentioned verse. Muhammad chose the latter to appease Umar and his friends." Al-Suyuti's Itqan, Book 2, page 100. A Jew encountered Umar ibn al-Khattab and told him, "Gabriel, whom your prophet mentions, is our foe." Umar said, "Who is an enemy to Allah and his angels and his messengers, to Gabriel and Michael, to Allah is an enemy to the disbelievers." This statement was later revealed word for word to Muhammad, Al-Baqarah 2.98, and became a verse in the Quran. Yet these incidents did not involve Umar only. Ibn Maktoum, for instance, who was a blind man and one of Muhammad's companions, was another person to whom Bukhari referred. In part 6, page 227, Bukhari conveys the following episode. When this verse came, "Not equal are those believers who sit at home and are not wounded, and those who strive and fight in the cause of Allah." Al-Nisa 4.95, Muhammad said, "Summon Zayd and let him sit down." Then he told him, "Write," and he dictated the above verse to him. Umar bin Maktoum, who was blind, was sitting behind the Prophet. Ibn Maktoum said, "O Apostle of Allah, I am a blind man. How can I go to fight? I have a handicap." Then the following phrase was added to the above-mentioned verse, "other than those who have a handicap." Part 6, page 227. It is as if Allah only realized the unreasonableness of his command after Umar ibn Maktoum pointed it out to him. Then Allah revealed the additional phrase. Muhammad asked Zayd to rewrite the verse and to include the addition. This episode has been recorded not only by Bukhari, but by other scholars. It is obvious, dear listeners or readers, that Muhammad did not have to pretend that Allah had revealed this additional phrase to him, because it is implicitly understood. If Allah were the same as the God of Israel and Jesus, he would have revealed these words as part of the verse from the very beginning. Allah would not have needed to learn from Muhammad's friend in order to change his opinion or to alter the verse. We now address the case of Abdullah ibn Sa'd. In Asbab al-Nuzul, page 120-121, Al-Suyuti writes, Abdullah bin Sa'd used to write for the Prophet, like Zayd. When the Prophet dictated, "Allah is oft mighty and oft wise," he would write instead, "Allah is oft forgiving and compassionate." Then he would read it to the Prophet, who would approve it by saying, "Yes, they are the same." Ibn Sa'd relinquished Islam and returned to the Quraysh, saying, "If Allah has inspired Muhammad, he has also inspired me. If Allah sends down his revelation to him, he also sends it to me." Muhammad said, "Oft mighty, oft wise," and I said, "Oft forgiving, compassionate." Al-Baydawi and the Imam al-Tabari agree with As-Suyuti, and both of them record the same episode. On page 184, the Imam Baydawi records another incident in which Abdullah bin Sa'd was involved. I quote it as it is recorded. Abdullah bin Sa'd was one of the Prophet's scribes when the verse, "We have created man from Sion of mud," was revealed. And Muhammad continued until he uttered, and then we made a different creature. Abdullah said with wonder, "May Allah be blessed, who is the best creator." Muhammad said, "Write it. This is how it was given to me." Abdullah became suspicious and said, "If Muhammad is true, then I receive the inspiration as he receives it. And if he is false, then I say as he says." Thus, we have the verse recorded in the Believers 23:14. This is how it had been inspired to Abdullah, not Muhammad. End of quote.